Hi everyone, it's Deneen, and I'm going to walk you through how I'm putting together a page or pages in a little traveler's notebook. And this is one of the notebooks that was released with the Ali Edwards December Daily collection this past December. And there were 3 of them included. I used one of them to do a notebook on a New Year's Eve trip, and I decided that I had fun. So I wanted to continue to do some pages in another little notebook. And since I don't do Project Life anymore, I was thinking that I would do like a monthly roundup for each month of this year, just to gather some thoughts and some pictures together and have them all in one little place. So this notebook seemed perfect. When I measured the notebook, it's approximately 4 inches for each page by 7. So you'll see that I have my little notebook, and I'm going to put inside of the notebook some flips. So this is a page protector that I had cut down from a 3x8, and I'm going to put this in the pages. And then I have another one that I cut down from, I want to say that it was a larger page protector with the 3x3 boxes in it. These are pockets, or each 3x3. So just cut 2 of these pockets out, and I'm planning on using this. This is, oh gosh, I think this is from years ago. Let me see here. Yeah, this is from Snap Studio, and it is a photo flip pocket. So similar concept to a 3x4 pocket. It just has a little adhesive on it. To be honest with you, I don't even know if the adhesive still works because these are that old, but I found it and I thought I would use it. I'm going to try to fit this piece of vellum in there as well. I know that it is a little bit larger than my notebook, so some of the word brand will probably flow off the page, but I'm okay with that. I'm gonna do my best to fit that in there. I think it'll be a fun addition. And then I'll show you some of the things that I'm also going to add in that I've already worked on. So I do 3x4s, and I do these by pulling the digital version into Photoshop Elements. And then I do my typing, and I print out on a regular everyday piece of copy paper, and then adhere these over it and then print them. So I have Good Times. I think that's from the Awesome Story Kit. Collect Moments is from the January Scrapbook by the Month Kit. This one is also from the January Scrapbook by the Month Kit, as well as this one. Did the same thing here. Pulled the digital version into Photoshop Elements and then ended up just printing some words in the bottom half of the circle. And this is one of the papers from the January kit. So my stories are on here, and I'm considering doing a little stamping along this side. So we will see how that ends up turning out. And then I have my photos, and these I generally print on 4x6 paper on my Epson printer. And then I just cut them out with a little bit of white border around them. So those will be in there. This one, again, on 4x6 paper, and that is what this one is designed for. So those 2 will go together. And another photo, 3x4. And this one's, I'm planning on doing the opposite on the other side. And then I've also created a photo collage and a full page photo that I'm going to add in. And this collage I just did in Photoshop Elements, pretty simple, just to document some of the photos that I have for the month. Not a lot of photo taking happened this month. It was a busy month. I was totally unmotivated. I just wasn't feeling it. So I'm hoping that doing this little monthly roundup will give me the motivation to push forward. One of my goals for this upcoming year is to do some more deeper journaling and deeper stories. And right now I'm just not finding that. So to keep myself moving forward, so I'm not standing still, I decided just to do some Project Life style scrapbooking, you know, here are the facts, this is what we did. And this way I'm not doing nothing. And again, it's just as valuable. There's value to all of our stories, whether they are just simple stories that we're getting down with pictures and a couple blurbs, or whether they are long stories that we are putting our heart and soul into. You know, all of them, they all matter. And then I am going to do a full page or a double page spread with this photo as well. So I will cut this out, and then it will be divided down the middle so that it will open and cover both pages. Okay, so here's my notebook. And I'm not doing anything on the cover yet. I haven't made any decisions, and that's okay. I do not need to do that just yet, but I'm leaving it open, and I'm sure that there'll be some idea that will hit me eventually. So I'm going to leave that blank, and the inside cover as well, I am going to leave blank. And so I'm going to begin here, and I think the first thing that I want to have in there is this transparency. And you'll see here, if you can see, I put some marks on here, really tiny down at the bottom. This will be my first cut so that it is in line with the outside of the page. And then this will be my second cut here. And this little line right here is just so I know where to score it, because I'm going to fold it to create this little flap. Now this flap over here could be as large as you want. I don't need to cut it here. So let's just see what happens when I start cutting over on this side. And let's get that in there. Oh. My page. So now I want to score. So I'm going to bring up my scoring tool here. And so I know that I'm going to fold this. So I'm going to put it in here and see exactly where would be the perfect place to score it. Let's see, probably right about there. I'm just going to drag my scoring tool. And again, I realize that part of the word brand is going to be cut off. Oop. Looks like I actually scored a little bit too hard there. Okay, so note to the viewer, do not use the scoring tool and press too hard. But I will make that work. There's always a fix for everything in one way or another. So let's just see how we're going to make this work. Okay, so I think I came up with the solution for my problem. Again, I went to score the vellum and I pressed too hard and it actually cut the vellum. So now I no longer have a flap to place this into my album. What I decided I was going to do is I have these adhesive page strips that I got from Citrus Twist. And so these are designed so that you can put them on the edge of a page and they have circles in them to go into the albums. I don't need the circles, but I need this little flap so that I can put it in there. So I already cut one to this size, and I'm going to try to fix my problem with one of these adhesive strips. So we'll see how this is going to work. I'm just going to adhere this to the back of the vellum, trying to be as straight as I can. And I guess in a way it doesn't matter too much how straight I am, because that's going to be hidden. Okay, so you could see it a little bit. Not going to worry about it. Definitely not going to make a big deal. But now there is an additional edge that I'll be able to fold. So generally speaking, what I will do is I will just fold this over and make it so that it could bend. And I just basically do that with my fingers. Sometimes if it's resistant to being folded, I will use a scoring tool, which, as you have already seen, I am very heavy-handed with. So I will try to do this with my fingers alone so I don't ruin this anymore. Of course, I'm not going to worry too much about perfection. Those days are over for me, but I was a huge perfectionist years ago, and that did not work well with scrapbooking. So perfect. This is exactly how I want this to be. Okay, and I'm going to use a little bit of adhesive, kind of like a red line adhesive. This is a generic that I got off of Amazon, and that is how I am going to actually put this into my album. So I'll straighten this out, and then I will just put some adhesive. Again, as it's straightened out, you're putting the adhesive on this front side here. So let's get that on there. And I'll do it all the way. Okay. All right. Good, 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 good. Again, not ideal for what I was looking for, but I always find a way to fix my mistakes. Now remember, this is bent. So now I am going to basically just eyeball this to get it into my album to be as straight as possible. So let me fold this front cover back a little bit so it's not in my way. And let's see how we can get this in there now. I want it to match the size of the page as best as I can. So we're going to try to get that in there. Let's see how that turns out. And then that folds over. Okay, so it's a little wonky. Let's see if I could straighten that here as I am pushing on it. This is where I probably could use a bone folder. Let's see, here's my tool for my, I'm going to be very careful here so as I don't destroy this piece of vellum. And try to straighten it out just a bit. So a little, it will be flat eventually. Once it's in the album, it will definitely be flat and fit in there much nicer. And I think I'd also like to round the edges, like the rest of the pages in the notebook. Oops, that one was a little crooked. Oops. Okay, so that is going to be the beginning of my entire album. And of course, I don't plan on putting anything on this back side, so I'm just going to leave that alone. I wanted to start out with a full page photo that will be opposite the vellum. So I'm going to cut this out. Again, this is 4x7. It's a little bit larger than the actual pages of the notebook, so I don't have to be super perfect with cutting this out. The blade on my trimmer is getting a little dull. Probably going to have to replace that very, very soon. So let's see. Now I know that this is going to be a bit larger. So what I generally do is just kind of hold it in here and hold the page up like this, and then see where are we with fitting this into my notebook. Now I want to point something out. I would love to do this and have it like right in the crease here, but I noticed that if I put it too close to the crease, that the notebook pages will have a super hard time opening. So I always leave myself just a little tiny bit of space between the crease and the photo. So I'll hold it. See that little space there right here? And then I will see how much do I need to trim off of this side. So it looks like it's not even 1/4 of an inch. I'm not one for measuring. I just kind of wing it. So let's see if that will be enough. See if that will be enough. Great. Okay, so it is not going to fit perfectly into that crease, but I'm good. Oops, I am good with it. All right. Now I think I may also want to put my 2 3x3s in here. I think I might want to. Let's think about that. Let me look at my pictures and see how they come together here. I have this, no. These are my 3x3s, as well as this right here. And you'll see that I didn't go to the end of the card because I wanted to cut it so that it would fit in one of the 3x3 pockets. So I'm thinking that I would really like to put that also in here. And that would be, oops, this right here. So again, 3x3 pockets. There's the the holes on the edge. And I have started to bend it already. Just again, with my fingers, just bending so that it can flip back and forth. And it's the same exact process that I did with this vellum here. It's just putting it in here like this. Just putting it in here with the fold, if you can see, and it will go like that. So let's try that. So for those of you who inquired about how you can put these page protectors into your traveler's notebook, that's exactly how you do it there, with, you know, just a little bit of a fold and creasing there. And of course, the photo that I'm going to put here is going to cover up those flaps. So let's get this on here. Nice and straight. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so opening up, it's a brand new year. I may fiddle with this a little bit. And then the 3x3 flap, and then my main photo. So I'm gonna press that down really good, and I think it lined up pretty well. Once again, I will round the edges of that to match along with the pages. Wonderful. So we fit, you know, 3 additional photos in there with a little page protector. And then I have my photo here, and my intentions for this were to place this large circle up here in the sky. So I'm not sure if I have a circle punch that is this exact size, so I may have to cut it out by hand. I'm going to go look through my stash. adhesive. This is the Tombow Mono. I have some left. I started using what Allie uses or has used, which I believe is from scrapbook.com. This one right here, I have very little left. I do have to order more. This is wonderful adhesive. I love it. It's not permanent, but it is. So it's kind of like that kind that you start off and it's still movable, but then eventually everything is set into place. And it's so easy to put pages in a traveler's notebook with this adhesive, because if you don't get it right the first time, it really comes off of this page so nicely. Whereas this, it's like immediately permanent. So it's really a tough job to get everything in there perfectly, because I know once I do, it's really going to tear up that page if I have to remove it. So again, this is really good when you're not trying to be precise and you don't think you're going to need to move things around, but this is so much better. And again, there's hardly any left on there. So I'm taking a chance today, guys. I'm taking a chance. The big risk, right? The big risk. Let's get that in there. And there you go. I love it. And eventually the pages will start to close and open easier as I'm working. I often use the little clips to hold them down when I'm taking pictures of them. It works perfectly. Now, I really like this part of the photo. This part over here, again, it is a continuation of the picture. There's a shadow in the way from one of the buildings. It was a super sunny day. Not that I don't like it, but I purposely did this so that I can adhere this flap, this 3x4 flap on this side. And it will flap up, and I will have this photo here. And then on the inside, I will have some journaling. Okay, so I can see here that there's a date there. So let's get my little date stamp out and stamp the date. Let's see. Oh gosh, January. This was January the 1st that I took this photo. And that is 2023. So January 01/23. So let's get that. If you've looked at any of my pages, you will see my dates are always crooked. I don't know. Maybe I just have a crooked head. Maybe my glasses are crooked. For some reason, I couldn't stamp straight to save my life. And again, I don't stress about it. It has the date. So there's my date. This is going to be on the inside when you flip up. So I'm going to insert that in here like this. And then on the outside is going to be this photo. And I want to place that here. Great. Okay. So there is going to be one more, I guess, spread, so to speak, for January. And that's going to include the photo collage that I made. Now, I did make an error on this collage when I printed it. I printed it a little bit too large, so I am going to have to do some trimming. It's a little tough. I don't want to cut off faces. So if you could see, my friend's face is really close to the edge here. So if I cut off of this side, I'm taking more of her face away. She appears over here, and there might be a little wiggle room here on this side in order to kind of make it so that it fits better inside the traveler's notebook. So we'll see. Again, we'll see how much we have to chop off to get it to fit. Now, this is what's going to go next. And if you'll see, I messed up on it. This is the original one that I had done, and I just wanted to show you to always measure first. This is the physical product that I had, and I realized after the fact that it was longer. And so if you notice, one of my stories gets completely cut off here. So I am going to go, and the good thing is that I purchased the January scrapbook by the month digital. So I am able to redo this completely and kind of shrink the journaling so that it fits onto that page. So I will be right back, and I will have that reprinted so I can get that in my album. Okay, so I had to go and reprint that January page. And like I said, with the digital version at hand, it helps me to continue on even though I've made errors. And of course, if I didn't have the digital version, then I would have to come up with some other plan, look for another type of paper, or even create my own. But lucky me, I was able to do that. Now, I want to point something out. These papers that come in the scrapbook by the month kits are not as wide as the pages of this particular traveler's notebook. So you can see there is an edge there. So what I thought is, at first I was going to put this on here and then put a piece of washi tape, which totally you can do. But then I decided against that, and I thought that I would just trim off the outer edge here of, it looks like it's about 1/4 of an inch. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Just trim 1/4 of an inch off that particular page. Won't be able to do that later on when the book gets super thick, but for now, I definitely can do that because my book is brand new and it doesn't have a lot of stuff in it. So maybe this won't work going forward in the future. Who knows? But right now, I think it's going to be okay. Little part of it comes off there. So let's see how that fits now. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. So this is going to go here. I was also thinking that I wanted to do some stamping on here. And there are numbers in the January scrapbook by the month kit. And I was thinking maybe those would fit nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I was happy to see that they fit so well. Let me get my, oh, there they are. And I have to pick a color, I guess. I was thinking. Okay, so I think I have settled on Salty Ocean because it's a little bit darker. And these stamps on here for this month are outlines. So I'm thinking that if it was like a solid stamp that I wouldn't want to have something so dark, but they are just outlines. So I'm going to go with the Salty Ocean, which is a little bit of a darker blue. And we'll see how that ends up looking. Okay, so there we go. I have the numbers down for my 5 little stories. And that made me think then that I may want to number my photos as well. So that's another thought that I had while I was here doing this. Do I want to number my photos to go along with each story? You don't have to. Again, it's a little bit easier for the reader to see when they're reading the stories and they're looking at the photos. They can see which ones correspond with which ones, but honestly, it's not necessary. It's not something that we absolutely have to do. So I have one more page protector that I want to put in between right here. So I need to get that started. there we have it. I do need to do a little bit of fixing, and I will do that after I am done. A little bit of fixing here. I'm not too happy with this, so I will, because it's kind of keeping my cover from closing the way I want it to, but I can absolutely just pull this up here. So I will do that, and I will be right back, and I will see if I have to add any embellishments, and I will show you the finished product. Okay, so I am back, and I did a little bit of tweaking, and I pretty much got it so that it closes nicely. May have to trim a little bit more, but I am content with the way that it turned out. And so you'll see that I have a little clip now that I will keep on the outside of this until it gets too thick, and then I have larger clips. But for now, I have this small clip, and I will show you again. We open up and we have the vellum piece. It's a brand new year. And then this is the 2-pocket 3x3. And right here, I placed a little tab on the outside that says details. Flip that over. My full page photo with the piece of journal card that I cut out on top. And I did end up using that chipboard phrase, but I put it on this side over here because I thought that it was a little bit open. So I filled that in. And then I put another little tab on the bottom with a chipboard star to flip open. And then I just underneath felt like it needed something. So this is from one of the 4x6 journal cards from the travel collection this past year. And it had actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it had 6 squares inside the 4x6 journal card. Here's the rest of the card. This is what's left of it, but it had 6 squares, and one of them said the best time here. And I thought, yeah, that fits perfectly. So put that underneath there. And then when you flip over to the collage, it's hard to see, but I added some number stickers to go along with each of the descriptions. So this is 1, these are both 2, they're both 3, this is 4, and that's 5. And so then you flip over, and this also goes along with story 2. And there is my main journaling there from the January kit and my stamping. And I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So thank you for joining me on this little adventure. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I will be happy to answer them the best that I can. And I hope everybody has an awesome day.